NeoWiz, a South Korean game dev studio that wanted to take their first shot at the Souls genre. They made their first Souls-like game, and instantly, it is considered the best Souls-like. And immediately when you hear the word Souls-like, you get these furry artists waking up from their Cheeto puff-induced slumber, right? With Cheeto dust all over their face. They're like, oh, Souls-like? Well, hey man, did they just steal it from FromSoft? Isn't that a FromSoft's creation? And then you're like, all right, what are these guys mad about now, huh? You gotta check it out, because they never stop entertaining you. So you go check it out, you play the game, right? And instantly, you're like, oh, this is actually pretty similar. But that's only because you didn't progress up to a point where they actually developed the combat. This is a Souls-like game. There's gonna be similarities because at the end of the day, it's a derivative of FromSoft's Souls genre. So it makes sense that at their bare bones, they are the same. But then you start to play and you start to notice their innovations in Lies of P. Like for one, if you've ever tried a quest in one of FromSoft's Souls games, dude, it is the most cryptic shit ever. It'll take you ages to do it without a guide. You gotta listen to their cryptic dialogue, which half the time they don't even say shit about where to go next or what to do. And they just end it off with, ha 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 ha. There's just some weird laugh at the end. So you're like, well, dude, can you just talk straight? Stop giving me these riddles, man. Can you just tell me where to go next? I want to help you out. But what did NeoWiz do with Lies of P, right? They put the icons of the characters that the quest is related to so that when you're in the fast travel menu, you know where to go next. You know that this guy's going to be here because of this icon. And then you go there, you meet him, and you talk to him, and you progress your quest without the need of a guide. Right? Fine, that's a pretty small innovation, but then you look at other stuff, right? They introduce more mechanics. Now you have the weapon matching system. This is probably one of the coolest things they've done, right? It's basically they split the weapon in half, and you have the blade and the hilt, okay? The hilt gives you the moveset and the scaling of the weapon. And maybe for some of you new guys, you're like, oh, scaling, what the fuck is a scaling? It's just Souls game jargon. What can I say? Souls game professional. I should put that on my resume. But anyway, scaling is just whatever stat you have the most of, it will make the weapon stronger based on that stat. And the blade gives you the damage. So whenever you upgrade a weapon, you're upgrading the blade. And this makes it such a massive playground, just a sandbox for all these different types of weapon combinations. You could have a really tiny axe that is flaming hot, and then you have this really big blade that makes you charge attack every time you load up your heavy attack. So now you have a flaming, charging, heavy, red hot axe. They also innovate on the stuff where FromSoft falls short on, right? Whenever you have a boss fight in FromSoft Souls games, when there's more than one guy you gotta fight at once, it's always a terrible experience, right? You're just getting gangbanged the whole time in the boss room, right? There's no other way to put it. That's exactly what's happening. I don't know if you've played the freaking gargoyles in Dark Souls 1. Oh my god, that was my bottleneck situation. I had to fight that guy 60 times before I bested him. It was a terrible day. But in Lies of P, they make it more strategic. They're like, okay, well, let's have one guy attack at once. If the other guy attacks, then the first guy backs off for a bit. And then if he attacks, the second guy backs off. And I think their best innovation, the thing they best improved on from the FromSoft Souls genre, and it actually makes me like Elden Ring just a little bit less, is the pulse cell refills. So essentially how it works is you get a baseline of 3 pulse cells, but then once you deplete all of your pulse cells, you're not completely out of pulse cells. You're recharging 1 more pulse cell. The amount of attacks you land on the enemy recharges your pulse cell meter, and when it fills up, you get a new pulse cell. Just imagine what this means, right? Just imagine you're all out of pulse cells, right? You're fighting this boss fight, and it's not looking good. But guess what? The boss fight is in his last quarter of his health bar. Right? So now you're just like, fuck, I made it this far, but I'm not gonna make it. And then somehow, some luck you had, you land a visceral attack on the boss. And you hear that ding sound. Oh shit, my pulse cell's back. You refill your health, and now you're back in, baby. It's time to fight. It's time to tango. You're gonna win this. And you obviously never win. But it feels like a boxing match, You never know what's gonna happen. That's probably the closest I'm ever gonna get to a boxing match. I think honestly, from here on, every Souls game that ever comes out needs to have this system. This last pulse cell refills. And it doesn't refill like infinitely. If you lose all your pulse cells and you refill it once, you're not gonna be able to like refill the second one and you just store 2 now. You can only have 1 refill at a time. So once you use that refill, then it'll start refilling the next one again. So it's pretty balanced out in that way, right? And this game also, it does a lot of good things in terms of encouraging you to play New Game Plus. There's a lot of skills hidden in the skill tree that they don't show you early on before the New Game Plus that kind of make the game completely different from the first playthrough. Everything lands so right. The hitboxes are really tight. The tracking is good. Overall, the game is just an absolute tightly crafted experience. Until we start talking about this green swamp monster guy and Simon Manus. Oh my god. Simon Manus is this gnarly, grotesque, large monster looking dude. Like, he's the kind of monster you would see in your nightmares after having read Berserk or some shit. You know, this guy looks gnarly, dude. Since he's so big and gross, his movement is also so wide, right? Because of his long limbs. And when you fight a large enemy in FromSoft Souls game, the camera zooms out. So you can see the full movement of the boss, right? So you can kind of time your dodges, attack whenever you can. But the problem with this fight is that the camera doesn't zoom out. You can't even tell where he is with the swing at the moment. So now you just kind of have to learn the timing. It doesn't feel like it was designed for learning the timing kind of boss fight, but it just forgot to zoom out. The Simon Manus battle could easily be made better if they just release a patch and they zoom out on that boss fight. It's just a messy experience. Then we have the green swamp monster guy. Oh my god. I do not like this boss fight. The second phase is kind of cool, but god dang, the tracking on this feels so crazy. Oh my god. This guy will be on the other side of the boss room and he'll just track you all the way over. It feels so fake. But these are only 2 boss fights. The whole game is just amazing throughout. At first, when I played the game and I had to fight the puppets, I thought they animated them weird and it was just wrong the way they did it. I thought the word wrong. But I realized I was just ass at the time. I just sucked ass at the game. Right? And I went online to check if other people had problems with fighting the puppets as well. And I found that a lot of people were complaining about it too. Okay, let me explain the story before I finish my point. So the story is set in a world that is based off of Pinocchio. There's all these puppets that help the world, and it's basically if AI and robots helped us out and somehow they malfunction, you know, as they always do, and now they're attacking us, you know? That's the basic premise of the story. But if AI robots were puppets. And the reason why I think having that thought of, oh, this animation is wrong, is not the right opinion to have is because the animations of the movement of the characters don't exist outside the context of the world. The animations have to follow what the NPC is depicted to be. Like, let's take a dragon from Elden Ring, for example. A dragon doesn't move like Melania would move, right? A dragon moves like this mythical beast that flies in the air, breathes fire, right? And then you look at Melania. She doesn't move like a dragon. She moves like a babe. She moves like a human, right? She attacks like a soldier, obviously has her own unique style of attacking, but it's still very human-esque, right? The movements are smooth, the swing is smooth, right? These puppets move in the way they do, in the janky way, because they are janky. They're not working properly. You know, they can't move smooth. They're robots that are malfunctioning, and now they have that, you know, slight jack, like all this electricity whirring stuff. So I think a lot of people were used to this setting where it's a medieval setting and you're fighting against human-esque monsters. So their movements relate to human. In this, it's not even a human you're fighting. There's no human base you're fighting. You're fighting a puppet. It's a robot at its base. So it makes sense that their animations are kind of janky and like surprise you. It's just different from what we've had up until now. That's why you suck. Now, I mentioned the story earlier, but I didn't really go that into it. It's a story about this puppet that you control, and you're trying to find out what you want to do in this world. And you're trying to find out whether you want to be a human and make your own decisions, or be a puppet and just follow what others say. I think Andrew Tate would love this story, right? Breaking out of the Matrix. And there's a lot of references to Carlo Collodi's Pinocchio storyline, right? If you want to know more about it, there's this video. It's kind of long, but it goes through a lot of the inspirations it took from the books. And it's a pretty good watch. The guy is pretty good at it. But essentially, the character you're controlling is Pinocchio. And you're in this train station where you don't know what's happening, but you hear a voice that tells you to...
Geppetto's puppet. We need your help.
And you're like, dang, that sounds like a babe. I should probably follow that. Hotel Kron? Where the hell is that? Take me there right now. And then you go there and you find out that there's some humans left from the puppet frenzy. And Pinocchio meets other people throughout the story where some of them join them at the hotel. You know, they set up camp and they start maybe upgrading your weapons or maybe giving you access to new Legion arms, which is Liza P's Sekiro equivalent, the Shinobi prosthetic. There's an argument to be made that they might have taken a little too much inspiration from FromSoft. But they've innovated a lot, okay? So leave it alone. Yeah, you're building this community at Hotel Krat. You're trying to solve this mystery. How did these puppets go crazy? What's going on? That's the whole drive of this story. You're trying to stop this puppet frenzy and you don't know anything. And as the game is progressing, you see Pinocchio growing into this person that he's crafting himself to be. And there's also a piano at Hotel Krat where if you play it at different times of the game, the song builds up because Pinocchio's learning more about the world. He's learning more about himself. So he's learning different things and he's incorporating those themes into his song. At the end, when you play it, it turns into this beautiful piece. It's just amazing. It's a story about growth. There's some side quests where you meet a puppet who doesn't know any emotions, but he's become sentient somehow. And he's asking Pinocchio, what the fuck are these feelings he's feeling? So Pinocchio teaches him through gestures. You learn some gestures and you show it to him. The guy's like, what? Is this what it means to have a heart on? And then there's also this game mechanic where a character will ask you a question and you get to pick between lying or telling the truth. Depending on which answer you give, you get more humanity points. You know, P is becoming more of a human because they have this system set up in this world where puppets can't lie. So when you lie, you're disobeying the puppet code. Now, you're not a puppet anymore because puppets can't disobey the code. But you don't just get humanity points when you lie. You get it when you assert humanity. Sometimes you'll get it when you say the truth. Sometimes you get it when you say lies. It just depends on what option you pick asserts your humanity, asserts your control. I think that's such a beautiful way of showing how P is turning into a human. Because it's not just going from this overcorrection, like he's becoming a puppet to a human, so he's gotta lie because puppets can't lie, so he's just gonna lie. It's a balanced approach. Sometimes you say the truth. Sometimes you lie to save yourself. Sometimes you lie to save others. He's just asserting his humanity, and that's why he gets more humanity points. Having more human experiences, like if you listen to a record at Hotel Krat, you now get more humanity points because you're asserting your humanity there as well, right? You're playing a record and you want to listen to it just for the sake of listening to it. He's growing into this individual. And I resonated a lot with that theme because I was at a point in my life where I was in university and I had just gotten kicked out of my first program, which was forensic science, and I didn't know what to do with my life. I thought I was a failure. I didn't know what to do. I was like, a lot of people are telling me what to do. Should I follow them or just take my chances and fucking see what's out there? And I didn't know what to pick. I felt trapped in a stream of choices that I was forced to take. And seeing P assert his humanity and choose between truth or lies, it resonated with me. It was like I was seeing a reflection of myself in P, except not in a mirror because he is extremely pretty. What the fuck? I can't believe I have a crush on a dude. This is not the place to be singing. But yeah, enough of that soy boy shit. People might actually think I'm gay. Let me tell you my favorite boss fight from the game, okay? The Puppet King. The Puppet King was freaking amazing. You play it the first time, right? And you beat him. You're like, wow, that was a great fight. And then the second time around, you come back with this device they give you towards the end of the game where you can now decode what puppets are saying. Now you can understand what he's saying, and it's such a brutal story between these guys. The Puppet King is actually Pinocchio's childhood friend, and they somehow end up on different sides, and now they have to fight each other. And the lines they say throughout are just so... Dang, dude, I was not expecting this. This game is beautiful, man, and the music is amazing. This game is made by a South Korean game development studio, and it's set in an Italian setting, and it has French music. There's so much going on, man. You guys gotta go check it out, man. If you like Souls games, play this game. It is freaking amazing, dude. And I really think it doesn't get as much praise as it should. And I think most of the reason for that is because it's not from FromSoft. I'm sure if FromSoft made this game, it would be considered way bigger than it is. But I don't blame people because FromSoft has put themselves in that position where you can trust them. They care about experience first, right? They care about user experience first. So they're like, okay, I want to play anything FromSoft makes. I want to at least try it because I know they deliver. With NeoWiz, we don't know much about them. So it makes sense to me. But guys, from an experienced veteran in the Souls genre, I've played all of them, all of the ones that matter anyways. This game is definitely better than some of the FromSoft games I've played. I gotta be honest, I'm just saying. I would put it top 3 maybe. I loved it. Maybe I'm a little biased because the story really resonated with me and I loved the story, but hey man, even the gameplay is great. Go check it out. Like, look at this move. Dude, that is sick. The blade just goes like, what? I'm a ninja. You want to be a ninja? Go play this game. You're a puppet ninja.